In this video, part 3, we will construct the task portion of the object model. The tasks are located here within the tree view diagram. In the last video, part 2, we demonstrated how to construct the hardware portion of the object model. I will first provide a recap of part 2 before we proceed. So if you recall, in the last video, we constructed the hardware portion of the object model. And the hardware portion is comprised of instruments, actuators, switches, and PIDs. As well as the DAC board. So the instruments, instrument 1, 2, and 3, actuators 1 and 2, switches 1 and 2, and PID 1_1 and 3_2. Another view, this is called a class diagram. This is another representation of the object model. And as you can see, we have apps, which corresponds with apps here. And then we have app right here, which corresponds with this app, breathing regulator. And then on top of that, for the DAC boards, we have DAC boards plural. We call this an item manager, and there's only one DAC boards. And within the DAC boards, there's multiple DAC board in the singular. So DAC board 1. And as you can see, there's DAC board 1. And then under DAC board 1, there's digital, analog output, and analog input channels. So as you can see, digital channels, analog output, and analog input channels, and then within each analog input channels, there's going to be analog input channel 1, 2, 3, and so on. As you can see, the instruments are also shown. So as you can see, you have instruments in the plural, and that would be the item manager, and there's only one of those. And then within the, as children, you have a number of instruments. In our case, we have instrument 1, 2, and 3. So instrument 1, 2, and 3, and then as children of instrument 1, we have calibrations, plural, and then within the calibrations we have calibration 1, and then you could add 2, 3, and so on there. So as you can see, calibrations, and then calibration 1 is the only one that we have. The same goes for switches. And then we have switch 1 and 2. And they have no children. And actuators. We have actuator 1 and actuator 2. And PIDs, we have PID 1_1 and PID 3_2. So PIDs are located right here, and then we have PID 1_1 and 3_2. We don't have any MISOs, multiple input, single outputs, in our particular application, but we could add them. This is called a hierarchical object model, and this is the portion that's been done so far. So we're going to add the test portion. Or tasks, which is this portion right here in this video demonstration. And this will complete the object model. And then what we're going to do is manipulate that object model in macros in order to create test sequences for our application. So the first thing we're going to do is add a task. And the task we're going to add is a pressure test. So we're going to collapse all of these, and we're going to add a task called pressure test. Actually, we'll call it outlet pressure test. And as you can see, it's also created a session information task. And within the session information task, there are two instructions: enter username and enter serial number. And as you can recall from the first video, we talked about the test sequence, which is right here. And the first thing we do is we ask the user to enter his username, and then we ask them to enter the serial number. So Hiatronic Development Suite automatically creates a session information task, and within that task are instructions: enter username and enter serial number. So that's automatically done for you. And if you look at the class diagram, so we've created a task called outlet pressure test. And it automatically created session information task, and then it created two instructions. The first instruction would be enter username and enter serial number are the two instructions for the session information task. There's a macro that is created for an application in VSTA, Visual Studio Tools for Applications. And what we're going to do is we're going to build it. And then we're going to go to this page right here, and we are going to click Run.
Enter username.
And this is the first instruction that was automatically added. Enter username.
J-O-N.
So we're going to type in John.
Enter serial number.
And then we'll just enter a serial number.
2, 3. All tasks passed. Ready.
So that's what we have so far. The next thing we're going to do on our test sequence is we're going to instruct the user to install a part. So within our outlet pressure test, we're going to add an instruction called install part. And we're going to click on that and open the property window, and we're going to type, please install the part within the test stand. And then within a confirmation property window, click yes to continue. Now that we've created that new instruction, what we're going to do is we're going to go into the outlet pressure module, and within the outlet